The great Bill Russell once said, "This game has always been and always will be about buckets." Sure, he was delivering a line in a movie cameo, but that doesn't make it any less appropriate to sum up the game of another one of basketball's greatest collectors of hardware. Diana Taurasi was the first WNBA player to score 8,000 points, and 9,000 points, and 10,000 points. Just GOAT things. This episode of Difference Makers is presented by CarMax. DT has one of those resumes that's genuinely hard to wrap your head around. We could spend a lot more time detailing her career than we will, because it's the epitome of longevity and personality. The daughter of immigrants who raised her in an Italian, Argentinian, and American melting pot, DT has exuded a certain kind of California cool ever since she was dropping 50 balls at Don Lugo High School. Ultra confident in high-pressure situations, big-time trash talker who never hesitated to throw a sneaky elbow into your gut or a peck on your cheek. An ever-present slick-back bun that signified she was both about her business and in her own lane. UCLA wanted to keep the Naismith Prep Player of the Year in her home state badly, and Taurasi said she never pictured leaving California. But UConn was in the midst of a 36-1 national title run, and the pull of competing for championships was too strong to ignore. The Huskies added Taurasi and the top recruiting class in the nation to a team that already had names like Sue Bird, Swin Cash, Shea Ralph, and Svetlana Abrosimova. In DT's freshman year, UConn was cruising until the Final Four. The Huskies led by as many as 16 against Notre Dame until future coach Niele Ivey shepherded the Fighting Irish all the way back and more to a stunning 15-point win. After the worst game of her life, including shooting 1 for 15 from the floor and fouling out, Taurasi made a promise, and I quote, "We will not lose another tournament game while I'm wearing this uniform." And they didn't. They lost one game combined over the next 2 championship seasons. Then Taurasi capped off her senior season by beating rival Tennessee in the 2004 championship, eliminating the Vols for the 3rd straight season.
Diana Taurasi, the All-American, all-everything.
UConn was already on its way to superpower status before she got there and reached even greater heights after she left. But DT's senior season still holds down the #1 spot in program history for average attendance per game. The 2-time National Player of the Year could draw a crowd as well as she could cut down a net. Taurasi racked up prolific all-around stats in her Husky career, but the one we'll revisit in the context of her WNBA future is most career three-pointers made. Put a pin in that. Taurasi didn't grow up dreaming of playing in the WNBA. The league didn't even exist until she was 15. She became just the second guard to be drafted #1 overall, joining her old teammate Sue Bird. It's far from the last time those two would be linked. DT immediately took over as the leading scorer and assister for a Phoenix Mercury team devoid of any real identity. Coming off a franchise-worst 8 wins and a 4th coach in 3 seasons, it was Taurasi who set the Merc on a path to contending with a top 3 MVP finish and Rookie of the Year win. Phoenix is a basketball town, so Mercury attendance was middle of the pack even in their worst years. But DT and company steadily built up crowds until Phoenix led the league in average attendance from 2014 to 16, plus once more in 2021. But that's jumping way ahead. Remember when I mentioned Taurasi's 3-point shooting earlier? After narrowly leading the league in attempts in her first 2 seasons, Taurasi cranked up her deep shooting to a new level in 2006. She attempted 305 threes, 132 more than the next closest player. The result? 48 more makes than anybody else for a total that would stand as the WNBA record for 17 years.
Taurasi, she jacks up a 3 and hits. Wow.
Taurasi's 25.3 points per game average would stand as the all-time high until A'ja Wilson's monster 2024 campaign. DT, shooting 9 threes a game at 39.7%, was a blend of volume and efficiency well ahead of her time. No NBA player would get up 9 threes per game until Steph Curry a decade later. The broken records came in her signature Nike shoes, the Shox DT, an upgrade from the Maserati-inspired Air Max Taurasis she wore the previous season. Off the court, Taurasi starred in a couple commercials, but the collaboration and endorsement landscape looked nothing like it does today. Nor did WNBA contracts. Taurasi's first contract paid her a little more than $40,000 per year. When DT was drafted in 2004, the W's salary cap, $647,000, was less than the 29th pick in the NBA made in that year. Playing overseas isn't a necessity for today's players to try to make what they're worth, but DT's generation faced a glaring pay disparity. The W's short season meant about half of the league spent many months far away from home in unfamiliar places like Russia or China to take advantage of contracts that paid in excess of $1 million for the biggest stars. Taurasi proved well worth the money, piling up EuroLeague championships and more trophies in Russia and Turkey. Her first title in Europe was a prelude to her first in the W as the 2007 Mercury snapped a playoff drought in style, coming back from down 2-1 to win the finals in 5. That ring came thanks to huge contributions from Taurasi's future wife, Penny Taylor, and finals MVP, Cappie Pondexter. 2 years later, it was Taurasi's world. Coming off her lone regular season MVP, DT repeatedly saved the Mercury from the brink of elimination and took home finals MVP for her efforts. By the next season, though, things weren't so rosy. Taurasi had been playing year-round for 7 years at this point, managing to fit in 2 of her eventual record 6 Olympic gold medals in her nonstop hoop schedule. She seriously considered taking the 2011 WNBA season off to get some rest and just play overseas, where it was reported she made 5 times her W salary. She decided against it, but it showed she was willing to take a strong stand to shrink the pay gap between home and abroad. The next 3 seasons brought a conference finals loss, a season in which injuries meant DT played 1 more game, 8, then the Mercury had wins, 7, and another conference finals loss. But the lost season sandwiched in the middle couldn't have come at a better time, bringing Phoenix the #1 pick in Brittany Griner.
Griner for the dunk, and that's what the sellout crowd was waiting for.
The 2014 Mercury were an all-time great team, going 29-5 in Sandy Brondello's first season as coach. Taurasi didn't have to reach her 5-time scoring title-winning heights with Griner locking down the paint and Candice Dupree playing at an all-star level. But on the brink of a championship, DT showed she hadn't lost a step with a 14-point fourth quarter and the clutch tiebreaker.
Taurasi, the pull-up is good, and the foul! Diana Taurasi does what she always has, coming through in the clutch.
Now Taurasi was really ready for some time off, and her Russian team wanted to pay her to take it. This wasn't the first time a foreign club made the offer to a WNBA star, but DT was the first to accept, sitting out the entire 2015 season at the request of UMMC Yekaterinburg, which paid her more than $1.5 million, 15 times her WNBA salary. It didn't change the W's salary structure overnight, but it laid bare a topic Taurasi brought up often: unhappiness with the league's collective bargaining agreement. When the next CBA came around in 2020, average salaries finally reached 6 figures. Taurasi was far from the only advocate to push the league this far, and the players are still working toward a better CBA, but her absence really mattered. That said, it wasn't as important as her presence. She returned for another 9 seasons after sitting out, suiting up until she was 42. Each season built on her legacy. We got to hear Kobe confirm the White Mamba nickname's origin.
She said, "I'm the White Mamba." I said, "Yes, you are." She has every bit of the temperament.
Her longtime sneaker partnership with LeBron paid off in a tribute pair complete with a GOAT logo. Her fellow Valley sports icons often came to give their flowers. As the league, public, and media increasingly embraced her as the greatest, she paid it back with continued excellence.
Taurasi, 3! Diana's done it! She is 1 of 1!
And she kept speaking up for social justice.
This is something we're not going to put up with. And it's simple as Black Lives Matter.
About motherhood and the joy of being out in a league now embracing its players' authenticity.
I got a baby to go deliver. I got to get out of here.
Giving props to the next generation.
That's inspirational. That's motivational for her. It's really just a remarkable story.
On investment in women's sports.
Everyone's like, oh, do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a GM?
No.
Do this? No, I want to fucking own it.
Sometimes just to make us laugh.
penny diving on the floor at her age. It's impressive.
2 weeks older than her, mind.
And other times bringing light despite her own tears.
Kobe y Gigi están en el corazón de Los Ángeles. Los Ángeles nunca mueren. Te queremos mucho.
Diana Taurasi means different things to different people. To some, she's a mentor, a best friend. To others, she's the perfect basketball villain. She's the face of not just a franchise, but of American women's hoops to the wider world. To many, she's the GOAT. She wouldn't really mind any of those descriptors, but even if she hadn't lived this full life with plenty still left in the tank, she'd still be the one who watched the ball go through the net more than anyone else, but who never seemed to have time to hold her follow-through. There's just always more to do.